Well, friends, we're finally here, the end of the After saga, even though the last one was supposed to be the last one. And then they just went and hit us with a cliffhanger, but hey, at least I didn't have to read a book for this one. Even listening to those audiobooks at 3 times speed, that is time I'm never getting back. But yeah, no book. Apparently the director just freeballed this one with some leftovers. Unless this one ends up including some of the details from that before book, which is apparently some kind of like weird past, present, and future novel, largely from Hardin's perspective. In which case, my apologies, but we will have to cover that another day if you want. But where we left off, Hardin seems to be getting his life in order until Tessa finds out he's planning to publish their story without even mentioning it to her beforehand. So she leaves him, and the last we get is her stumbling into a bookstore where he's giving a reading of a section of the book, but kind of catches some eyes he might be making with his agent, and she walks out into the slushy New York night, to be continued. Which was not at all the plan. They were contracted for 4 movies, and I guess someone was like, let's just stretch this one out a little bit more, guys. Like literally, apparently as they were filming the 4th movie, they were like, just like do this again, right? And I assume that this was just going to be an extended out version of how the book ends, but apparently not. Because after about 40 minutes of watching this movie, I realized that outside of like 2 seconds at the beginning and a series of reused flashback memories, Tessa wasn't here at all. And that's because Josephine Langford didn't come back for this movie, and all of her scenes included are things that were filmed back in 2020 when they were shooting 3 and 4. I looked it up, and apparently she said she was only willing to come back to the franchise if it made sense for her character, depending on what they were doing with it, and clearly milking the fans for a 5th installment didn't fit the bill for her. So they had filmed the ending that should have been included with the last movie and just held it back to tack on to the end of this one instead. Though honestly, even if the story had been a super solid pitch to her, I can fully understand wanting out of this franchise to do new things, especially when your original contract ran out. Like, I know she's already got a new project on the horizon, the other Zoe is coming out this month. But without Tessa, there is just no denying that this movie feels like an unnecessary cash grab. It's one thing to say that you wanted a movie that was a little bit more focused on Hardin and his growth, and a totally different thing to completely omit the character that was our central protagonist of the previous 4 installments. You like that horse? Do you see what we're being deprived of? And you just feel that absence with the way that they're padding this movie to make the feature-length runtime. All to just have it end the exact way it was supposed to a year ago, which is, pretty damn easy to anticipate unless they wanted to get really bold with things. This isn't La La Land. They're not giving us 4 movies not to put them together. Now, somehow the home release for this movie kind of smacked me out of nowhere, so I was originally working on a Beastly video for this weekend, so you'll have to excuse the fact that my ad segue was styled around Vanessa Hudgens, her quirky little street singing, and High School Musical. Take it away, past Amanda! But what I do know is that if I was gonna rock out to the High School Musical soundtrack in public, I would do it with the comfort and style of today's sponsor, Raycon. Raycon offer a variety of affordable and quality audio options, like their popular everyday earbuds that are my go-to for a variety of reasons, like the long battery life, the touch controls that let me switch between audio profiles and awareness mode, but it really is just how comfortable these are in my ears for hours at a time. They're literally the only earbuds that I can wear while I'm trying to sleep on planes because of how flush they stay to my ear, and considering my last handful of flights were all like at 5 o'clock in the morning, that came in handy. Whether I'm out running errands, out on a walk, getting some fitness in, or bopping around town like a quirky little movie character, Raycon has me covered. And whether it's earbuds, speakers, or headphones, Raycon is sure to have the perfect thing for you. And with Raycon's 6th anniversary coming up, there has never been a better time to buy. Everything in the store is at least 20% off, with some items going up to 40% off. So make sure to click the link in the description down below, or head on over to buyraycon.com/Jedi and use code BIRTHDAY to save 20 to 40% off site-wide. See, that still fits in here. So let's dive into the movie, which starts at a wedding, which pretty much tracked with my original thoughts that this was just gonna run through the end of the book that they cut off at the last movie, where the two reunite at Landon's wedding, which they're obviously using as a little bait and switch to make us think that this is their wedding. So clever.
Love never fails. But I failed us.
And oh, this might actually be a bigger bait and switch than I assumed. It immediately cuts to him brooding over a desk, desperately trying to write while plagued by thoughts of Tessa. Now, what I appreciate about the After series, or at least the last couple installments, is that they never leave you wondering what happened last time, whether it's to pad out the runtime or because they don't think people care enough to remember. It's always appreciated when they just toss in these little flashbacks to bring us up to speed. And Hardin, obviously going through it, Tessa doesn't want anything to do with him, though he's maintaining that their story isn't over, which is great and romantic and all, but I don't know, maybe let her have some autonomy? Take her no and just like, stop?
Without you, I have no after.
Holy shit, Hardin, no! We're not doing that. You are too old for that level of teen angst. The content ends up so sexualized, but the emotions are so high school that, like, I feel it. So it was around here that I realized that we were in for a Hardin-driven romp, and, you know, with the character development that we saw him have last time, I was totally down for, oh, never mind, he's drinking again. Oh, no.
I do have the odd beer or glass of wine, but I am never chugging a bottle of whiskey again, if that's what you mean.
So that was a fucking lie.
That's fine, I'm also down to follow his morose gotta get back to her journey. And his current journey is getting his shit in order so he can write his follow-up novel.
They'll forget you ever existed. You have a tiny window of relevance and it's dwindling every day.
Ouchie. But I feel like his agent here absolutely wants to smash, so she is just running him up the liquor train, so he starts to hallucinate Tessa on the dance floor when her friend comes over and starts dancing. You know, alcohol isn't gonna do that to a person, but I get the point they're making. He just so badly wants for it to be her. He ends up bringing them both home, and don't worry, he doesn't cheat on the memory of his relationship, just a bit of queer baiting for no damn reason. I know you can't really call that queer baiting, it's just throwing two girls in kissing for no reason. What is the word I'm looking for? Rude? The series is basically a checklist of things that I hate to see, but I just enjoy talking about so much. But the next morning, and the partying out of the way, brings it back to the serious. If he doesn't deliver a manuscript, he's gonna have to pay back his book advance and lose his publishing deal. So we know that he's just been on this steady decline. He's like ignoring people. At this point, he's super late for a meal with his parents, and he just starts immediately pounding whiskey. His dad knows he's about to lose the deal because, again, he owns a publishing house.
I've heard a rumor that you're nearly a year behind on delivering your new manuscript.
Hardin, what the fuck is going on with you?
Ma'am, do you really need to ask that? How could it be anything other than Tessa? You gotta know that, like, him not having her is gonna be the thing that's wrong with him. And it's also why he can't get a second book out of him, because, you know, like, unlike this 5-novel franchise, his after was just a one and done. Or so I thought. So his mom thinks he should get out of the city, get some new perspective, get out of his headspace, maybe help him move on. Ma'am, this is Hardin Scott. He is never gonna give up on Tessa, even if it kills him. Or her. That's an exaggeration, but...
And nothing matters in this world if she's not in it. I'm not ready to move on yet.
God, he plays completely broken and miserable so well, though. Which is when his mom brings up Natalie. And that's very dramatic because for those who don't remember from my previous book recaps, Natalie was a girl that he Tessa'd, or, you know, used to win a bet before he moved to America, but way worse. Yes, that's right, Hardin making sex bets was not a one-off. But with Natalie, it was super fucked. He recorded them having sex, sent it to his friend as proof, that guy leaked it, and she lost everything. Like, literally kicked out of her home, her church, lost her school scholarship. He literally obliterated this person's life, then ignored her when she needed help. Now in the book, she does pop back up when he's in England, and he gets to find out that she's doing well, she has a fiance, but I'm betting we're gonna take a different direction here. But because that resolution doesn't happen in the movies, hearing her name, his gut must be falling out of his ass right now. Oh no, is the inspiration for the second book gonna be another girl he screwed over? How many times? So, you know, you get away with it in the first book and people are like, oh my god, what an emotional challenge and change, and then it happens again and people are gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Because after seeing an Instagram photo of Tessa with a dude, he thinks, sure, Europe sounds nice.
Liquid lunch then? Who are you trying to forget? You want to talk about it?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, why is the flight attendant putting the moves on?
If you change your mind, I will just be up there.
No, what's happening? They can't be getting away with this. No, not the Mile High Club with the attendant. I don't care. What the absolute fuck? No, did they just get like tired of people telling them that the movies were vanilla compared to the books?
I was just fastening your seatbelt. We were on our final descent.
Oh, thank God it was a dream. Jesus Christ, I was gonna say, like, these movies are absurd, but they've never jumped the shark that hard. But honestly, the more that I'm thinking about that, including that as a dream also feels like jumping the shark. Like, why is that here? It doesn't even fit the vibe of anything. He's also just so hopelessly devoted to Tessa that it wouldn't have happened? Did they just do that so they could throw in some of those scenes to the trailer and like mess with people? They had to know that that would piss off the Hardin fans. Is that their couple name? Is it because like a TARDIS because he's British? Oh no, it's Hessa. Okay, my bad. And it's not just any random spot he's headed. He went to Lisbon. You know, the place where Natalie lives now, according to his mom. This is starting to feel very 365 and I don't like it. And yeah, he just immediately tracks her down. I'm sorry, that is just like the type of person that you leave alone. And if you really want to apologize, you send an email.
Give me one moment and I'll be right with you.
Take your time.
Okay, you never make a major apology to someone whose life you ruined while they're at work, you sick fuck. Like, Christ, Hardin, what is wrong with you? Obviously, she's shook and makes him leave.
You need to leave.
I don't need long, honestly. I just wanted to...
Please.
I came all this way to find you.
Please.
Oh, well, if you came all this way, how could she not talk to you? And yeah, it does seem like we're maintaining that backstory I'm aware of. We see him make the bet with his friends who can get Natalie first.
The Virgin fucking Mary over there. I'll come back. Yeah, she would if I showed her the goods.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like you two could get her. That fucking look, alright. Alright, I bet you this. But I'll need proof.
Oh, gross boys. Again, this is something that he and his friends did regularly. He even has the audacity to ask if he can record it just for him, and this poor girl fucking believes him. I can't decide if that's better or worse than just doing it without her knowing, which I think was the case in the book. And he just does it, no hesitation, all while giving this sick little smile to the camera. So gross. One of the many reasons that Hardin Scott remains on the top of my most fucked up love interest board. Actually, I'm lying. Tedros from The Idol officially dethroned him. Congrats, I guess. He doesn't actually have to do anything to get Natalie to talk to him. She just comes around all her own. God, I hope to hell they don't turn this into some weird love triangle. Is he gonna emotionally damage this poor young girl again? Because, like, we know that Tessa is endgame. You know, I will say, at least he's had to really look at the consequences of his actions, and I do believe that he's developed the empathy to be deeply bothered by what he did, which is, like, the one thing I'll give him. They're making solid amends, and apparently she's read his book.
You know, I read your book.
Jesus, imagine the person who completely derailed your life becoming an international bestseller over a completely different girl that he screwed over from a bet. Oh, it's so good.
So what happened with Tessa?
I fucked that up too.
So the movie just keeps giving him flashbacks or dreams of the things that happened with Natalie, so we get to be in the moment of the video leaking. And he is pissed. And yeah, he might not have been the one to spread it himself, but he still sent it to the guy who did. And if he was gonna be this fucked up, he could have just shown the guy the video on his phone for proof. Honestly, even just for self-preservation reasons, that's what he should have done. Now, his movie shows him super pissed and getting into a fight with his friend over doing it, but he didn't give a shit in the book at all. Like, it was just like next level douche. And I think they should have kept that in because Hardin's still an asshole when he gets to America after he did these things. He did not learn his lesson, otherwise he wouldn't have done it with Tessa. Whatever, it's beach time, and how do you introduce this guy to your pals?
Hardin was my first crush.
Oh god, no, I don't like that. Also, is he still wearing a black t-shirt? I almost wore a black t-shirt for this video, but I need more pizzazz than that, so I just split the difference.
Who's this?
Hardin.
Well, this is Sebastian.
Ooh, the local tattooed bad boy Sebastian is not a fan of maybe Natalie's current romantic thing, or like someone who wishes he was Natalie's current romantic thing.
Oh, God, no. Get me all wet.
Yeah, he wishes. And I'm pretty sure that animosity is only gonna get worse when they start gushing over his book.
No way. I've heard of that. I've read that.
I had that make a movie. Oh, Harry Styles should play you.
Thank you.
No, they did not! Okay, again, for those unaware or if you forgot, After started as One Direction fanfiction, and Hardin is Harry Styles. The audacity! You know, this whole franchise is just one of those things that crosses Harry Styles' mind every now and again. He's just kind of like, ugh.
Everyone has one book in them. Only the talented have a second.
Tell me, where can I find your body of work?
Ooh, the antagonism, which leads to a man-off with some cliff diving. Honestly, I'd say I'm mad that this movie is basically just becoming a vacation, but I'm mostly just jealous. Yeah, that cliff diving, totally just filler. It was really just an excuse for him to think back to that day with him and Tessa at the lake. Which at the moment I realized that we were only seeing her in flashbacks. So it's when I realized that she must not want to be here because there are just so many dumb little filler moments that like absolutely would have been filled with things from her perspective in any other installment if they'd had access to her. But anyways, obviously still a little bit of a morose mess, and I honestly thought that last time it was because he was drunk, but it seems like he's also actively ignoring Landon's calls, which I assumed were calls to ask him to be the best man at his wedding, but honestly, who knows at this point, because we were totally off the book tracks. Okay, see, now it just feels like they're padding the movie with pictures of Tessa so they can be like, see, she's here. In spirit. But yeah, here's that book inspiration coming from Natalie. Maybe check with her beforehand, champ. Oh god, I just noticed what he wrote. The car rolled into the shop and let out a whine as it came to a stop. It was an old sedan, years beyond its prime. The driver was quite the opposite. But it's with the aim of bettering himself, or, you know, probably more so getting Tessa back. which he tells her via text. Ooh, wait, here she is. We got some actual footage. She's reading the text in the middle of the night, unimpressed, but still just reaching out to stroke that area he used to be. It ain't over for the sick fuck yet. Though after looking into it, this is literally just leftover footage from one of the other movies when he wasn't around. This was not new footage. They are just doing what they can with what they have. But honestly, just because it's not over, it doesn't mean that their relationship would be good or healthy. Like, love doesn't take those things into account. So if they were gonna do things this way, it would have been really nice if we could have seen more of that growth. Back to Natalie, I just love that he came here to apologize to her, and now she's kind of being relegated to his pseudo-therapist.
Wait, you didn't ask her permission to write it? I mean, it's not nice being exposed without your consent.
Hint, hint, Hardin. Also, this would be a super solid time to say, hey, how would you feel if I used our history as the basis for my next book? But Seb here is just not happy about Hardin, and apparently it's because he knows who he is.
I know who you are. She never said your name, but I can tell. If it were up to me, you'd be rotting in a cell.
He's not wrong, that was a criminal offense. So less territorial rage and more, I can't believe she's giving your sick ass the time of day rage. So he stumbles off, pounding shots in his guilt, so here she comes, having to pull the emotional weight for his wallowing over how much he hurt her again. God, I'm exhausted.
I have good days, I have bad days. I've moved on, and so should you.
Immediately followed up with a text from Tessa telling him once again that he needs to move on. Universe is trying to tell you something, my guy. But it just makes him drunkenly stumble over to the dance floor and start dancing with Natalie's friend, which Sebastian does not like.
You like fucking girls, right? How about a fuck with you?
Ah, there's the Hardin Scott I know. It's not an after movie if he's not kicking someone's ass. But for once, he actually gets his ass kicked. Like, yeah, it takes 3 people to bring him down and keep him down, but still not used to that. But it lands him in jail where his dad is the one to get him out. Dude literally tracked him down around the globe to deliver a letter from Landon, which again, I assume is an invitation to the wedding. Thought he might have been doing better based on what he was hearing, just to come to find his face bashed in.
I am trying, you know?
Yeah.
I am. I cannot comprehend the thought of giving up on us. It doesn't make sense to me.
And his dad just says, hey, you know, Tessa can always be a piece of you and have a piece of you, but
It doesn't mean that you can't go on to have other great loves.
oh no, please don't set him up with Natalie. That's an even worse wedding story than the one he and Tessa were gonna have. But hey, at least we get a nice little therapy session from someone he hasn't emotionally damaged, and he's ready to restart his journey to betterment.
You need to change the metrics by which you define success.
You're not bad at this dad stuff.
Now that, for me, is the pinnacle of success. Now let's get some food, you fucking idiot.
So he starts to tidy his life, and hey, I was right, it is a wedding invitation with the best man request. We are not completely off course. But then Natalie comes to talk.
I really do wish there was something I could do to make it up to you.
You didn't force me to do anything.
Oh no, we are not doing that. He made you think he cared. Yes, you could have said no, but he lied to you so much. He is to blame, and he at least knows that he fucked up, thankfully. No idea why they keep having her placate him, like she can forgive him and be cool with him without having to be like, hey, I made my choices too. Like, I'm pretty sure if he had said, hey, can I record this to send to my friend, she would have said no. And I don't know why they added that into the movie, because in the book it is absolutely implied that he did it completely without her knowledge.
I'm sorry. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh no, she's gonna try and kiss him. Oh my god, he shut it down. Okay, yes, because of Tessa, but that shouldn't have happened at all. Filmmakers, what is wrong with you?
You really deserve someone who can give you all of themselves.
You're right. I do.
Okay, at least they're still chill. I just can't handle this. We're going back to the redemption arc. He gives up the booze, gets to writing, and fucking, of course, this book is called Before. We love a trend. And then knowing that so much of the Before book is apparently in Hardin Scott's perspective, are we to believe that what he's writing here is what we can read ourselves? I don't know. I only skimmed it. Oh, and he's learning from his mistakes, kinda. He brings the manuscript to Natalie so she can read it before he sends it to the publisher. But you know, you could have at least like mentioned that you were planning to do it in the first place, considering you use real names and events, but progress. I can only imagine that this is gonna make her start to fall for him even more though. Like, this poor girl, she just never stood a chance against those dimples. Oh no, wait, is he gonna try and buy the house that she pointed out while they were on the boat?
That is my dream. I think I would wake up every morning with the biggest smile on my face if that was my view.
Oh my god, she's never getting over this man. I get that he probably feels like he owes her a lot and like a financial thing is good because he's probably going to be financially gaining off of this horrible thing he did, but oh my god. But it just leads into another pointless montage of Tessa to waste some time. They are putting that pre-existing footage to work. Is he gonna write their names in the sand? Oh my god, what a cheeseball. And just like that, he's on his way back to America for the wedding with permission from Natalie to publish the book. Apparently it even gave her some extra closure. Thank God. Oh no, never mind. Look at that look. That doesn't seem like closure. And yep, he bought her the house. Oh my god, she's never gonna get over you. What the fuck? Also, how much was the advance on his second book?
I've given you a $250,000 advance.
I don't think that's enough. Like, I'm sure he made bank from the first book, but come on. A secluded oceanfront house off the coast of Lisbon? Nothing says closure like a mortgage payment. Whatever, it's wedding time, and we get back to that opening scene of the movie where Tessa is the maid of honor and the doctor dude is her date. And she is so panicked about running into Hardin. I guess it's been 2 years since they've seen each other.
25 months, but who's counting?
Damn! And here they are, walking up the aisle together, which is kind of fucked. Landon and Hardin are stepbrothers, which was like a fairly recent development, and they spent the better part of the series hating each other, but I get why they made him the best man and Tessa the maid of honor, so we could get this moment. And damn, they have Landon looking cool as hell. Good for him. Oof, oh no, Hardin caught sight of the new boyfriend. Danger, danger. So he just starts moping around the reception until Kin lets him know they're not actually together.
Landon said they're inseparable.
Yeah, like brother and sister. He's dating a literal neuroscientist, and apparently they're already talking about marriage.
Oh, they made him gay and he's dating a neuroscientist. Cool, good for Hardin, I guess, even though Tessa already told him to move on multiple times. Also, just making this dude gay or bi so he's not a problem anymore is just fucking lazy. So his plan to get her attention is to use his little brother to ask her for a dance so he can tap in.
He told me you bribed him.
Okay, I loved that. Why do they make me care? This definitely feels so awkward. Like, their behavior isn't really matching her always telling him to move on and not talking to him. Like, she is way too receptive here. Their lack of time together in this movie is very much showing now. But he does at least sincerely apologize for hurting her, but their moment gets cut short by toasts. Starting with Hardin's. Oh no, is he gonna make the toast about him and Tessa? I feel like he did that in the book. Oh no.
You two will never know how lucky you are to spend the rest of your lives with the other half of your soul.
Oh no, Hardin, stop! Now things are extra awkward and Tessa's running out of the wedding.
You can't just talk about us like that, about our souls.
Because she's so upset that he still cares, that he still talks about them and their souls here in his interview and how much it hurt her.
You really pissed me off.
And then she's stripping him because that's what they do. But man, you probably shouldn't let that happen while she's upset. Now is the time for talking. But this is after. Obviously they're gonna fuck.
We're a mess.
You know, I'm beginning to think we're not.
Oh no, you are. A very sloppy one. And now she's apologizing to him for pulling away? Ugh, why does this man just get everything?
You know, I fucking love you so much. I want to marry you, do you?
Oh no. Oh no! They haven't spoken in 2 years and he's proposing?
Will you marry me? Yeah?
They haven't spoken in 2 years and she's saying yes? I know they eloped in the book, but it kind of flabbergasted me there too, and I'm pretty sure they had at least been having semi-regular hookups. And then it just time jumps ahead to when he's finished his third book. And what is that book called? I'll give you one guess. After Ever Happy. Because why wouldn't it be? And oh shit, they have a kid, but more surprisingly, they gave her another horrible wig? What is this? Oh, and she's pregnant again. I mean, good for them. Now, I know the movies touched on it a little bit about like her infertility, but she does get pregnant in the books too. It's just kind of like it was gonna be hard for her to get pregnant. I guess there was just no time to deal with any of that. But either way, 2 kids and a horrible wig. Though I really hate that it's just making Tessa seem like this homebound housewife to her successful author husband. Like, I hope she's still pursuing her passions. But I also just really want Tessa's perspective on the whole Natalie and before saga in his book, but that's never gonna happen. Like, we get it in the second book, but I wanted it in the confines of the movie. But how they handle this movie just makes the way their relationship came back together feel so awkward and unsatisfying. It feels more like some kind of disconnected fever dream that Hardin's having. So I just gotta assume when they originally decided to make a 5th movie, they were really banking on Josephine coming back and probably planned to have a lot more from Tessa's perspective, and then she was just just like, nah, I'm good, which is totally fair. I guess the upside is that I didn't have to watch an entire other movie of their abusive back and forth, so like, I guess that's something. But yeah, damn, this was just super dissatisfying. Just a weird meandered detour before getting the same ending that we should have gotten a year ago. This just leaves me wanting more, which is never something I thought I'd be saying about an after movie, but here we are. You can't end it with this fizzle. But it did, and for the sake of all of us, I hope it stays that way. Well, that was the after saga, and what a saga it has been.
I'm not wearing any underwear!
Hey, Hardin, good to see you. How you been?
Fucking Trevor!
We couldn't finish off the series without seeing that one last time, but some final thoughts. In the broad sense, I kind of like that he had to reckon with a part of his past to like help get his shit in order, but I hate that he literally stalked someone he'd hurt so severely to the country she fled to get away from the fallout of the situation that he orchestrated. Because a big part of this story, even if you don't like how they did it or don't feel like they did it enough, is kind of like the progression of Hardin not being shitty and abusive anymore, and like this movie just like backslid all that progress, which isn't something that happened in the book while he's still hoping to get Tessa back. I will say though, lots of this movie made me laugh, not necessarily as intended, but still better than the third movie. That was a stinker. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure if I kind of like went back through my other videos, I'd have more thoughts and connective tissue issues, but I don't. That's okay. What did you guys think of the final installment of After? If you're interested in me reading that before book, which seems like a very weird combination of Hardin's perspective and random other characters' thoughts throughout the series, let me know. Always willing to damage my sanity for your benefit. But thank you all so much for watching. Thanks as always to my Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like on the video if you're into that kind of thing. All my social medias are listed down below if you want to follow me there. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm still mostly okay, and we'll catch you all later.